All right, everyone, and welcome to the Food Founders Podcast. Today, I'm excited to be speaking with Samantha Abrams of Emmy's Organic. Delicious, wholesome cookies we can feel good about. You can munch on all day, all night. Who doesn't want that? Excited to dive in more about this story. Samantha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Samantha, for anyone who does not know Emmy's Organic cookies, could you talk to us a little bit about what the product is and also the origin story, how you guys came to be?
Yeah. Maybe I'll start with the origin story, which is it's my partner, Ian. This was about over 14 years ago. He taught me how to make this very simple coconut cookie recipe that he had created really out of a need for himself. He has a lot of dietary restrictions and really needs to keep his diet quite simple. And especially back then, this was in 2009, you really couldn't find decadent, delicious products that also were made with simple ingredients, all that you could pronounce. And so he had created our original coconut cookie recipe out of a need for himself. And he taught me how to make it one night. And we both just were like, wow, there really isn't anything like this available on the market. And they're so delicious, not only for people with dietary restrictions, but everybody likes them. So we started exploring what would it take to get these products into a store. We had no business experience. We did not know what CPG stood for. We didn't have any sense of anything, distribution, packaging. So we just learned by doing and started very locally in upstate New York, in Ithaca, New York, where majority of our products are still made today, and figured out bags and labels and getting a home processor's license and just started going door to door in our local community. Eventually became Ithaca farmers market vendors where we experimented and created other products, and that was really fun. And really just did the door to door thing for a while, and then eventually started learning about small distributors and larger retailers, and really just by doing it ourselves. So that is the origin story. And so still today, we make a few product lines, all made with gluten-free, vegan, certified organic ingredients with very simple ingredient lists, all that you can pronounce. And we love making just really indulgent, delicious products that you also can feel really good about.
I love origin stories exactly like this, where there was just a pure need and you're like, hey, other people probably are experiencing the same problem. Like they want something clean, they want something healthy, and it's delicious, which going back 15 years ago, that wasn't really a thing. Like you guys really were some of the first to go to market with that.
Yes, our timing was really amazing, but we can't take credit it was not strategic. It just our desire and wants to have better products just were happening at the same time as a lot of other people.
Yeah. Timing can be such a beautiful piece, that's a great piece.
Definitely.
Now, okay, you guys started selling at farmers markets, going door to door, started learning about distribution. I speak with a lot of food brands, and I'm sure you have as well, where a lot of people 15 years in, they are not in the distribution point that you guys are in about 15,000 doors. Yeah. So you were in about 15,000 doors. Seriously, some brands are still in farmers markets at that point, or they're still doing the door to door thing. What was it that allowed you guys to really grasp this idea of, hey, we need to work with distributors. Hey, we need to do things really differently. Especially you mentioned like you guys didn't come from that background of food and bev landscape. It's intimidating as heck. Let's be really honest. So how did you guys go about managing that?
Well, I think it was almost a benefit to us not having any experience because we were just completely naive and we just went for it and asked a lot of big, bold questions from people. So sometimes it's nice not to know because then you don't know how hard it is and then you just do it. But for us, things happened really organically, I will say, in the beginning where we were doing door to door, we were managing multiple retail locations, calling, checking in, making sure that their inventory was in stock, shipping, making, like we did everything ourselves. And then we were connected to a local distributor in our community. And they basically brought products to other small kind of health food store, independent stores in upstate New York and a little beyond that. So that was our first foray into even understanding about distribution. And through that connection, I think we then met a broker who connected us to other small distributors in the New York City area. And for us, again, because it was so early, we were able to get into some really amazing independent health food stores. One on our own, we did take a trip and went door to door in New York City as well. But then when we started working with smaller independent distributors, it helped us get into a lot of stores in New York. So New Yorkers, I feel like, know us the best because they were the earliest adopters of our brand. And so I think just from that and seeing, okay, working with distributors, that gets us into more doors. Okay, what are our goals? And I think also we had a friend that was working in the whole body department at Whole Foods Market. And she helped us get into our first region where we really were selling door to door. You just got approved for the whole region. And so we grew really slowly. And I think a lot of brands starting now want to grow really fast because they see how big the pie is. There's so many doors to get into, and you really can grow a business slowly if you want to. But for us also, we were in our early 20s. Like we didn't have like a mortgage to pay or like a car payment. We had side jobs in the beginning as well. So we just let the business pull us forward. And we were very smart about not taking on too much overhead or buying massive pieces of equipment too early, but until we knew that the business could support something like that.
I like that. Like it was strategic growth. I know you're saying like other ones may think strategic
Right.
with it, but there was, right?
It was.
You guys decided to, okay, we're going to go this piece. We're going to like learn as we go. And sure, there were a ton of lessons along the way. And then you started to get more doors and grow that. And
Totally. Yeah. And I think more opportunities just came to us and we wanted to be able to say yes. And so then it's okay, how do we manage this business and be able to make more product? We also always prioritize profitability from the beginning, which is also something that's rare. I think nowadays it's becoming more important. Several years ago, most brands were just trying to grow their top line as fast as possible. So we had a really solid foundation and we had that, especially for when we got into like even larger retailers.
okay, so you've been growing. Now you're everyone knows you guys now, right? You have very good distribution.
I'd say we're still
On it.
quite, depending on who you are comparing us to, like in the scheme of the industry, I'd say we're still a small to medium sized brand. Obviously, we're much larger than being a farmer's market vendor and in a few local stores. But if you asked the general population, do you know Emmys? A lot of people would say no. So we have a lot of growing to do still.
Yeah. And that's a really great mentality to have. You're like, okay, a lot of our audience knows that. We're in a lot of doors, but there's still so many more people that can get to know this. And it's not probably going to be for everyone. Some people maybe still want the Oreo, and that's totally fine. But there's still a big group of people that can get to know your product, like the product, try it.
Yeah, definitely.
For you guys, where you are right now, what type of marketing is it that is helping you continue to grow? Have you guys over the years you've been able to really figure out what works, what doesn't work? What is it that's working for you guys right now from a marketing and trial perspective?
I feel like we're still always learning when the market's always changing and we like to trial and experiment different things. We've always maintained really strong organic social and email throughout. And especially in the beginning, it was just like that's what we could afford to do. But over time, we've really been able to grow a really beautiful audience for both social, especially on Instagram, and email, which I would say is even stronger for us, and really honing in on that email list and prioritizing certain messaging. and seeing what works and what doesn't. It's a wonderful place to test and learn. And then we are now utilizing paid media to gain awareness and drive trial. And let's see, we do some other things as far as trial is concerned. We do a few subscription boxes. We do some sampling in stores. That's always been something that we've loved to do. Obviously, that paused quite a bit throughout the pandemic, and also trying to support events with sampling. I'd say we still operate in quite a scrappy way. The paid media is new for us, and I do not think like a new brand does not need to be spending lots of money on paid media if they don't have a lot of funding. But that's been really interesting to see what type of creative and messaging really resonates with people, especially new eyeballs that don't know of our brand already.
And I noticed on your website too, you guys do this welcome offer for people where they
Yes.
get, try some of the different products. Talk to me about that. And how long has that been a piece of your strategy?
Oh my gosh, years. I
Oh my
can't.
God, good. That's so
Yes,
good. Yeah,
it does. Yes. And sorry, is there sometimes there's like little things that we do that I don't even put into a marketing strategy. It's just
totally.
what we do, but it's so great that you picked that out. Yes, having a welcome offer to really get people to sign up, that gets them onto our list and encourages them to place an order. And once that happens, we have a series of emails that really like nurture and educate new customers so they can really become part of our family. And there's a lot of very personalized messaging that you get in that flow. And we recently redid our website and recently launched subscriptions. That's also something new that is fun to talk about. And we have a lot of like really great deals that you can get if you subscribe and get regular shipments of our products. And there's different kind of combo boxes and things. So you get to try a variety of the products that we have today.
I'm curious for you, have you noticed? I feel like you guys are in the data pieces with pieces. It sounds like you guys are like looking at pieces and tweaking. Have you noticed that there's a different type of customer that's going to subscription boxes versus people are just coming and one-off buying from you?
That I would say it's a little too soon for me to answer
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
We just launched subscription. And so we don't have enough data, I think, to really have key learnings on that.
Got it.
But I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm interested too. I'm like very curious. I feel like there's such a level of brand love that people need to have a subscription to something. Going through some of your reviews, though, people are like, I eat these every day. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
we have
like,
so many the reviews, that's a whole other piece. Like having reviews on your website and starting to collect them right away is such a great way to get feedback, but also really help show new customers that this is a loved product. And we use them sometimes in paid media. We use them in email and social. Just it's such a wonderful way to see how people are enjoying describing and giving feedback for your product.
absolutely. Yeah, it's great to hear it like in their own words. You're like, oh, this is the impact we're really having.
Yeah. Oh, it's so wonderful. And even when there is, we've been lucky that it's mostly positive, feedback is so important. And so to be able to have that touch point, honestly, like in the very beginning, us being at the farmer's market was having that interaction with people and seeing them try things right then and there and be like, I love this. I don't like that as much. Or people coming back to certain flavors and products. You learn so much with people, and it's harder sometimes, especially if you have an e-com business, just what are those touch points? And so I think reviews is a great way to leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from a sales side, you mentioned that you guys obviously work with distributors. So many people have this not touch and go relationship with distributors, but you know what I'm like. It's a necessary part of the business. Some people are like, yes, they love it. Some people don't necessarily. How do you manage working with your distributors, and what role do they really play, and how do you work with them?
I think distributors, depending on your business, if you really want to be in a lot of doors, I think distributors are a necessary evil. And like I said in the beginning, we worked with a lot of independent distributors. And I don't think that they're given enough love, really, because you don't have to jump to working to with UNFI or KC or like any of the really large distributors right away. In fact, when I speak to newer founders, I tell them not to, because I think in order to work with those guys, you really need to have like an accounting team. You need to like have the bandwidth to be able to review the chargebacks that you get. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into working with those distributors. And it's great if you have that kind of support. And it's also a headache because it's a lot of work that goes into it, and you get charged incorrectly and you need to dispute them. And there's a lot that goes into it. But there are independent distributors who do have terms, and you always need to have maybe a legal support looking over agreements and all of that. But they can be a lot easier to work with, and also just give you that ability to get into more doors when you are still a younger brand. So we did that for many years before we took the plunge to UNFI and KE. And now still we work with a number of independents and some of the big guys. And that's just how our business works. And we knew we wanted to become a household name. That's still what we want today. And so for us, we really wanted to get into as many doors as possible. And we knew that was the route that we were going to take. We wanted to get in nationwide into Whole Food Market. We did the regional thing for a while. And then we were lucky enough to get the opportunity to go global with them. And that's just how it works best to go global with larger retailers.
I didn't want to say the necessary evil. You said it.
Oh, I think that I imagine that everyone feels that way. Like we so appreciate our distribution partners, but it's a lot. I think they would also recognize that there is a whole layer of work that goes into it that I think a very small brand, it can be really overwhelming for. So I think just taking that jump too early could be challenging.
Yeah, I think that's really great advice for people in terms of if you're even up to 1,000, 2,000 doors, you don't need to go necessarily to a UNFI, a KZ. Going, learning with other distributors, working with them, and then eventually going into larger ones, like that can be done as well. Obviously, everyone knows KZ, knows UNFI, they know the distribution points that they can get them in, but it's also really good to walk before you run with some of these things to learn along the way.
I would also say, because trade shows are such a piece of this puzzle, that I think a lot of younger brands are like questioning, should I make that investment in a trade show? And I honestly don't think that you should invest in a trade show until you are working with distributors, because you want to be able to say yes to the opportunities that come to you at a trade show. And most of the buyers there are going to be working with distributors, and it's going to be so much easier for you to make that sale. You can walk a trade show, you can schmooze and get inspired and do all of that, I think, before you invest in the booth and do the whole thing, because it's so expensive. And that's also something that we didn't do for many years.
Do you guys do trade shows now as part of your awareness building activities?
We do some like distributor tabletop shows. And we did not do Expo West this year, and I'm not sure if we're going to do it next year or not. I don't know. We used to do them quite regularly, but then we found we were having less touch points with the buyers, and we're just always trying to look at what's going to be best for the business and what's the best spend for the business.
Yeah, got it. I think that's a great way to do it too, in terms of just because you've always done something, it's always a good opportunity to relook at things and be like, is this giving us the return that we need? Expo has changed over the year. So if you're not getting that same return, that's also okay. And that's, as a business owner, that's what you constantly need to be doing, like evaluating and tweaking, what's working, what's not working.
Always. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you guys have launched a new product line as well recently. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we just launched our coconut crunchums online and on Amazon. They're going to be going into retail this fall. We're so excited about this product. They're a small, snackable, crunchy version of our soft coconut cookies. And they're so fun to eat. They're very crunchy. They're made with between 4 and 7 ingredients, depending on the flavor. So they're extremely simple and low in sugar. And there's 3 flavors: original, cinnamon, and chocolate. And they're all so amazing. Our whole team, like everyone is so obsessed, and everyone who I've introduced them to is loving them so much. So it's so exciting to have this kind of new format for us, small and poppable. We do also have a line of brownie snaps, which is almost like a crunchable brownie. But this is like truly a bite-sized, poppable that's really satisfying and delicious. And we're so excited about it. So right now they're just online and on Amazon.
Nice. They look delicious. Very poppable. That's a good word for them.
Yes. Yes. We've been using that a lot in our marketing because it's just, they're so fun to eat.
Nice. And what led to that? Was that consumer feedback? Was that wanting to capture a different part of the market? What led to the desire to introduce this new?
Yeah, I think we've always been very excited about crunchy products, and our brownie snaps were our first foray into that. But we knew because we had seen there's dried coconut chips and other kind of crunchable coconut things out there that we were just so inspired by. So we really wanted to create something along those lines. And it's been many years in the making. This is like the type of this product is something that we've been having our eyes on and like our brains on for a while. And yes, to have something truly snackable and poppable was like real exciting for us because our soft coconut cookies are so delicious. They're very satisfying. You could take a bite or two, you really savor that experience. And we love that. That's the feedback that we get. They're so satisfying. And so there's just that other snacking occasion where you just want to crunch on something. And we really wanted to go for something there.
Yeah, it's a really good way to expand your overall breadth, right? Some people want that savory, some people want that crunch. You're like, great, we've got something for both now. Don't worry, we've got you covered for
We've got
whatever
you.
you're craving.
Yes. Totally. Yes. And we have another product line that we're going to be launching in the beginning of next year that is more of a soft and chewy format again, but slightly different. And so, yeah, we're definitely always thinking about the snacking occasion and also just the benefits. Like, I think people really love our products because it does more for them, right? It's not just like mindlessly eating something. There's actual nutrient density in our products. We use real ingredients that you know and pronounce, and they're all very high quality. And so we're wanting to like really have our products do more for people.
Yeah. That's how people need to look at it these days. I think consumers are expecting that, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you do a lot, not just from the product. You guys have also done a lot with how your business is set up, whether it be being a B corporation, making sure that you pay above fair wages, hiring refugees. Has that always been part of the DNA of who you and Ian are? Is that something that's evolved?
Yes. It's funny because people often ask, like, how do you create a conscious business? And for us, there was never like a choice to do that. It just is very much who we are. And it's always been embedded into the DNA of the brand. And so as soon as we started hiring people, it was like we just had this goal of we need to be a living wage certified company. And then hiring people in the Ithaca community, we were so fortunate to be connected to someone who was in the refugee community, this woman, Da, who is from Burma. She came to work for us, and we didn't even know about this community of people. And she just loves working for us so much because we have normal hours, like working. It's just a very family oriented environment, which that has maintained today. And so anytime we had an opening for manufacturing, she was like, oh, my neighbor, my cousin, I have someone. And we were like, oh my gosh. And so then many years later, just our entire manufacturing staff was made up of Burmese refugees. And for us, it's like creating a great place for them to work for everyone of our team, but also making the environment very equitable, meaning all signage is printed in both English and Karen, which is their dialect. We have translators, someone translate at all of our meetings. We have celebrated holidays with them, weddings, funerals. We've seen babies being born. And that's just who we are and the type of environment we want to create, especially with manufacturing, because it's so important. And yeah, there's a lot of love that goes into our products. And it's really a beautiful thing to manufacture. I say this, and someone who maybe is starting a company, there's lots to consider if you're looking at co-packing versus self-manufacturing. And we do both. We do have two product lines that are made with a co-packer, but we majority of our business is in-house. And we just over the years, that's something we thought, oh, do we go use a co-packer? But then we realized we have these people and who really care about the quality of the products. And that is so hard to find. You can't find that everywhere. And it's just there was a point when we were like, wow, this is really special and we just want to continue to build this. And it's been a really beautiful part of our story that, again, was not strategic. It just really unfolded. And we're really proud of Element. And yes, being a certified B Corp is a great way to hold us accountable for how we are using our business as a force for good.
Yeah. It sounds like you have created a very much a family atmosphere for not just the people working there, but also the customers who buy it and really do try to spread that to everyone here touching the brand, which is really fantastic.
Yeah. Yes, we do our best.
And I know sometimes as a founder, you're like, oh my gosh, we're not doing good enough. But it sounds like you guys are really doing a great job. And it's like the impact that you're making is really widespread, which makes all the ups and downs a little bit easier.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
Before we wrap up, I had one final question that I don't know. I'm thinking some people might be thinking as they're listening to this. You started this business with your husband and you operate it with your husband. What is it like running a business with your life partner as well?
Actually, so Ian and I have actually shifted our relationship to be now like best friends and business partners. So
Okay.
that's like new-ish. It's been like over a year of us navigating that shift. But even before that, it's been an amazing journey for us. And I think even navigating this like shift in our relationship and still maintaining our friendship and our business relationship is really a testament to our partnership in general. And so we always have loved working together. And when we started the business, both me and Ian, we just did everything, right? We did all of the jobs. And then what was really amazing is that when we had a little more bandwidth to go into the things that we were most passionate about, they really complemented each other.
Mm.
And I think for us, like communication has always been so important. And it's been amazing. We've had just such a beautiful journey and we've loved spending all of the time together and learning together and just having this thing that we're like growing, which really has been like our baby. And so it really worked for us. So many people that we've met are like, I could never do that. But it's really made the journey like super special. And we are like such a great team even today. Man, there's so many things that we learned along the way that I think were really helpful. We had some friends that were also a couple that were running a business together, and they gave us this piece of advice, but we always took to heart, which was don't separate business and pleasure. I think that a lot of times when couples are working together, it's no, we like need to have this time that's like about us, and then this time that's only about business. We just naturally were able to flow all those things together. So yeah, we would talk about home things at work, like our house or our dog, that's just how it happened. And then doing things at home that work brainstorms and things. And then obviously there's a time when you're just like, I need to clear my head and not talk about work. But I feel like we did that really well. And yeah, we've had just like a really beautiful partnership, like on lots of different levels. And it really did work for us.
Yeah, that's really great advice too. Like so many people do say, don't mix business and pleasure, separate them, but you found a way to make them both work together. And it's really hard. I would imagine it's like really hard just to have home versions and then like business versions. Like, how do you even do that?
For us, it was the same. It just wasn't, we were the same people at home that we are at work. And yeah, I think when you do separate those things, there's automatically a lack in one. So when it's your entire life, it just works. And that's what worked for us. I think every business is different. Every couple is different. Everyone is very unique and there's no one way to do it. There's no one way to grow a business. There's no one way to have a relationship. There's no way to grow and evolve. That's really what worked for us. But yes, I would say the communication piece is probably the most important. Like if we had something we needed to just navigate and talk through, like we took care of that right away. We never let any, I don't know, we never really fight, but we never let any kind of like tension spew into work or anywhere. or just we just always took care of things right away.
That's really great advice. I think for anyone working with a partner in whatever way, shape, or form, right? Key advice there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you said. There is no one size to grow a business. This is one of the key pieces that I think everyone can always learn. You're sharing one way, but someone else has probably done it another way, and someone else has probably done it another way. There are so many different ways, and it's finding the way that makes sense for you. And I think it's there's just there's some core principles to it, but there's also so many different ways to make it happen. And we see evidence of that all throughout the grocery store.
Oh, totally. Definitely.
Santa, as we wrap up, anything else that you wanted to share with anyone who is maybe at the same stage as you, who is looking to continuously evolve, or someone who's in the earlier stages and looking to grow?
My biggest piece of business advice is start before you're ready. I think that it's so easy for us, and I say this myself too. It's so easy to feel like things have to be perfect in order to move forward, whether it's your packaging or your website. You can get pretty far. With us, we started with a clear bag and a home printed label. And we had we really started a business that way. It just wasn't beautiful. And eventually we were able to tweak things later. I just say, test things out, start in little ways. Don't necessarily quit your job and go start this business and put all your eggs in one basket. But are there little ways that you can just start now? That's something I often remind myself of.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for sharing everything about the growth of Emmy's Organic and where you guys are, and looking forward to continuing to watch you guys grow. If people want to go check out Emmy's, where can they find you?
You can find us on our website, emmysorganics.com. You can find us on Instagram at emmysorganics. Those are the best ways. We did just launch a Threads account. We're on there too. We're on TikTok, but I'd say website and Instagram would be the first places to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Samantha. Everyone go check them out and grab yourself some cookies.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I didn't actually mention our key retailers. Just if you do want to find us in stores, you can find us in Whole Foods Market. You can find us in Sprouts. You can find us in Kroger. You can find us in Wegmans and lots of other amazing retailers. On our website, there is a store locator where you can put your zip code in and find a store near you. So just want to shout that out too.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you.